the Ashes Preshow. I'm JJ Cash. Standing next to me.
And I am, of course, elegant Eddie Fyne.
What is your clothes, Stevie Wonder?
Wouldn't you like to know?
No. All right, our first match of the evening. It'll be Cooter Bocephus taking on Matt Cage. You know Cooter.
You know, Cooter's been around for a long time. And he is definitely a case of do not judge a book by its cover. You look at Cooter, he's got a rubber chicken, duck. He's got coveralls on. He looks like your typical country bumpkin. However, once that guy gets in the ring, look out.
A big physical hoss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Strong guy, can move. The guy can wrestle.
Hey, I've watched a lot of his Steel Domain stuff. That guy can work. He's a heavy hitter, but he's coming up against Matt Cage, who's probably one of the best strikers on the indies today. A guy who can hit you with any type of knee, any type of kick, the guy will hit you as hard as you've ever been hit in your life. I mean, he's done work in AAW against guys like ACH. He's been around, and now he's coming here, Williston, June 27th, to take on Cooter Bocephus. And this is sort of, these two have never met. They've done a lot of work in the Midwest. They never faced each other. It's going to be a hell of a fight. We know Cooter's tough. Is he as tough as Matt Cage? We'll find out, and that's, it's in the matchup there. These are two guys who love to throw those old soup bones, as they say.
Yeah, that's true, and I think the fans of Williston are going to be pleasantly surprised. I mean, of course, knowing that crowd, they're going to love Cooter. When they see Matt Cage step in the ring and start throwing punches and kicks and knees, it's anybody's guess.
Yep. Second match of the night will be the sinister one, Alistair Diamond, taking on Benny Blades.
You know, and watching Alistair Diamond's video, of course, one has to be disturbed, but when he mentions the fact that he knows Benny Blades from years and years ago, and even mentions the fact that Benny is not who he projects himself to be now, that's got to get somebody's curiosity up.
I'm curious. We know Alistair's a tough guy. He went toe-to-toe with Stephen King in a brutal street fight. The question is, how good is Alistair? He lost both those fights.
That's true, but the thing is, you're talking about, and specifically talking about Stephen King and Alistair Diamond, physical differences there. Alistair Diamond took everything that Stephen King had to dish out. Stephen King bled during that match. Alistair Diamond drew blood. So there's no doubt.
King paid his pound of flesh in that match to win that night.
True story.
In that heinous, hellacious fight. And Alistair showed Minot how tough he was. He showed FLW fans how tough he was. He never, Minot fans had seen Stephen King. They knew what he brought. They didn't know what Alistair Diamond brought. And they found out night one he's willing to choke a man with a chain to make a point. Night two, he made a point. Didn't win, but he took Stephen King to the edge. And that's not something to just, don't take that lightly.
Well, and talking about Benny Blades, you're talking about a guy who has been in the wrestling scene for well over a decade. Great wrestler. In Northern Outlaw Wrestling before, he held the heavyweight title more than once. And speaking of the last show, went toe-to-toe with Mr. Incredible, who was another big, rough, tough guy.
Number one contender.
Absolutely. It took him to the limit. So you got two guys that are almost like the second runner-up in the beauty pageant going toe-to-toe. They both have something to prove, and I think that that's going to give the fans something special to see.
I agree. Next match on the card is the King of Throwdown Venom taking on the newcomer, Christian Rose.
And I have seen Venom throughout the years, and of course, as fans know, unless you're blind or been living under a rock, Venom is in the physical peak shape of his life at this current time. Yep. Just a great wrestler, wrestles all over Minnesota, has wrestled in North Dakota, has held the heavyweight title.
Beat the current Outlaw champion in the round one of the Rise tournament, too. That's an impressive win, but he's coming up against Christian Rose, who's a self-proclaimed nihilist, a psychopath, who's willing to hurt himself to hurt his opponent. How do you prepare for someone who's willing to do whatever it takes, be as physical to themselves, hurt themselves, to beat you?
That's a great question, because seeing Venom in the past, he's always been a very physical, rough, tough wrestler, and going up against a guy who is maybe a little mentally skewed, but has all the skills
Yep.
that it takes to get by on the wrestling circuit today. I'm going to
Won
be
championships in Dreamwave. He's made a splash in the Midwest, just like Matt Cage. These two guys are very familiar with each other. So Venom's in for a fight. Christian Rose is in for a fight. Again, there's a lot of matches here tonight that I can't pick a winner. This one though, I'm going to give the edge to Rose. I just think he's he's willing to do more to himself to win that fight, and to see how far Venom's willing to push himself.
absolutely. We'll see.
Our next match on the card is for the FLW Tag Team titles. My team, Guns and Beer, defending them against Team Failriot.
You know, Team Lariat.
Failriot.
Team what?
Failriot. Yeah.
Okay. Team Failuriet.
Failriot.
Failuriet. Oh.
Fail.
It took me a second because your humor's down here, and I'm kind of up here, so it took me a second to get that. Failuriet.
What I
Very
think is
funny.
your clothes are so loud you couldn't hear it.
Well, that's possibly true. Team Lariat, I watched them at the last Rise show. An amazing, rough, aggressive team.
But did they win? Who
No.
walked out as tag team champions?
Very, very good point. Very good point.
They did, look, the second night they impressed a lot of people, not me, but they impressed a lot of people by beating Team US Lame. But here's the facts. They didn't beat my team, and now they're traveling a long way to lose again. I mean, I know they're not that bright. I mean, come on.
You know, you're investing a lot of money here in something that may or may not go your way. And I'm just telling you from experience, kid, you got to see how it plays out. But I do know, and I will say this, you're a smart guy. Guns and Beer is a great tag team. And they did walk out the champions.
It's unfortunate that Bogat got himself in trouble. Can't cross the Canadian border with both Guns and Beer. However, I went and found Gunner Franks, who is a big, tough redneck, fits right in with Guns and Beer. I'm not worried at all.
Well, you know, that's a great point. But you have to think, is that cohesive unit ability going to be there?
When I'm the strategist, it's there.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. You know, like I said, I know you're the new guy. I get that. I know that you haven't had a chance to get in the ring like I have. Former Universal Intergender Champion. But I will just say this. Anything can happen at Rise from the Ashes. You got to back your team. I get that. And Guns and Beer is a great team. The Team Lariat is a tough, rugged team. And you're right, they are coming a long way. And they're not going to take that trip lightly. So just
It's a
keep
long
that
way to
in mind.
lose, fellas. Next match of the night is for the Outlaw title. Mason Mayhem, the Mean Marine, claims he's going to bring prestige and honor to the Outlaw title, which I don't understand that concept, but whatever, it's his idea. Taking on Dynamite Soul Eric Walker.
You know, the last Rise show was the first time I saw Derek Walker. And Dynamite Soul was a heck of a talent. I was absolutely blown away. I've known Mason Mayhem for a long time. He is a tough guy. He's got a big heart. So I'm going to be real curious to see what happens when Mason Mayhem and the current champion step in the ring and face each other.
I don't understand why Mason Mayhem's in this position. He lost. It boggles my mind. I don't like the guy. He's got that rah gimmick going for himself. Eric Walker's the real deal. He's going to hit you with knees all night, and he's going to beat you down. Mason Mayhem's in for a fight. I know we could take a beating. He showed that by just getting in there and getting his ass kicked for 2 nights. We'll see. I'm not impressed by him.
Well, the thing you got to keep in mind is Mason Mayhem is legitimately a former Marine. Marines are trained to do one thing: win, by any means necessary. So Derek Walker may have these great moves and striking abilities and knees and all that stuff that you're talking about. Mason Mayhem is a guy that can come in and literally, in the matter of a couple seconds, turn defeat into a victory. The guy's a trained killer. So we'll see.
All right, and now our co-main event. Let's talk about Derek Corbin versus Mr. Incredible. Last man standing for the fully loaded heavyweight championship. Woo.
Yeah, that's gonna be one for the record books right there. I mean, these guys are no strangers to each other.
No.
Darren Corbin, probably the craftiest, current company, not included. Darren Corbin's probably the craftiest guy in the business today.
Yes.
He's always thinking 5 steps ahead.
Very smart.
Even before the match, he's got so many avenues that he's got planned out to go down.
It's not a fluke that he won the tournament.
No, not at all.
And incredible can he and all he wants about how Corbin cheated to win that match. I say he did what it took to win that belt. But the way he won the belt sort of put him in a tough spot, and that's in a last man standing match. And you have more experience in these things than I do. What's it like being in a last man standing match? What's that like?
Well, of course, I've never been in a last man standing match.
But you've been in the ring. I haven't. So intergender or whatever. I mean, I can't believe I've been in a last man standing match, or last person standing match, I guess it would be.
You're talking about a match where 2 guys have to beat each other down. Not, it's tough enough being in a match where you got to win by pinfall or submission.
Yep.
But you're talking about a match where 2 guys get into the ring and beat on each other so much that one guy literally cannot get up again. So, I mean, not only do you have to bring your A game, but you got to bring that
The heart.
Yeah, I mean that thing deep down inside you where you're not just having a match, you're going to war.
Yep. We know Incredible is probably the strongest person in FLW. Just his ability to hit you with one move and end it. That Black Hammer is the equalizer, and Corbin is going to have to avoid that. And he avoided it in their title match. Can he avoid it in the last man standing? Because I don't know if anybody can get up from that in 10 seconds.
No, and I'll agree with you. I mean, you're talking about a move that in the fraction of a second can put you down.
Sudden.
Yeah.
Corbin's got the ginger snap, but it's not that sudden impact of that Black Hammer.
Yeah, but you are talking about a guy in Darren Corbin who is willing, like you said before, to do whatever it takes to win.
Yep.
So if Darren Corbin has to drive a truck into the arena and run Mr. Incredible over, he'll do it.
Yep. Well, speaking of maybe breeding a truck into a fight, that brings us to our main event. It's a street fight between ECW legend Tommy Dreamer and Chainsaw King in a fully loaded street fight.
Just knowing the experience, Tommy Dreamer has that big match experience. He's
Yep.
been there for a long time.
A legend.
But Tommy Dreamer's no spring chicken either.
Correct.
Chainsaw King, in my opinion, has the youth, has the aggressive attitude, and frankly is just sadistic and psychotic enough to give Tommy Dreamer possibly the match of his life.
It's the old cliche, you got the old lion and the young lion who's going to be the alpha. And I'm telling you right now, if I had to put my money on it, I'd put it on that guy, Tommy Dreamer, because there's nobody who's been in more vicious fights in his life than Tommy Dreamer. Stephen King brings a lot. Chainsaw King is a vicious man, and I don't take anything away from him. It's going to be a hell of a fight in Williston, North Dakota, June 27th.
Oh, absolutely. And to be honest with you, if I had my money to put down, I'd put it on Chainsaw King. The reason is, Tommy Dreamer is the perfect opportunity for King to make a name for himself and take that next step up.
How many guys have tried to make their name on Tommy Dreamer and weren't able to do it?
It's an excellent point. I guess we'll see.
I made it.
Oh, jeez.
Well, there it is, folks. You got the card for Rise from the Ashes. Eddie Fyne.
June 27th, Williston, North Dakota, Rise from the Ashes. This is a show that you do not want to miss.
You can't miss it.
No.
Thanks for doing it with me.
Hey, absolutely.